It's the second day of the protest embarked upon by the Nigeria Labour Congress in Kaduna State. With the NLC president as the arrowhead, the workers are protesting the disengagement of their colleagues by the Kaduna state government without recourse to due process and demand that they be reinstated. This time around, the workers gather at the popular Napa roundabout in the Kaduna metropolis to continue their protest. Midway through the protest, things turned awry as a group of thugs armed with dangerous weapons stormed the place and descended on the workers, inflicting injuries on some of them before security operatives doused the tension by firing tear gas into the air.
We got credible information that El-Rufai have hired one Alhaji Hassan Gwaska, who lives in Hayam Banki. He was a car dealer and hired some thugs to come and attack us. I called the DSS headquarters. I called the DIG operation. I also called the state director of SSS. I gave them the information. While we are here, they came. But we thank God, we have dismantled them. We have chased them away because we have the number. We are not thugs and we are not using thugs.
The deputy president of the NLC says no matter what the state government does, the strike will run its course.
NLC is here on ground in Kaduna, discharging our constitutional duty, and we don't have any regret. What we are doing is lawful. What we are doing is backed by law of Nigeria, and we will continue to enlarge and establish this action until El-Rufai complies to the right of the workers.
Concerned residents also held a peaceful protest, calling on the NLC to suspend the strike because it has brought untold hardship to residents of the state. The state governor, Nasir El-Rufai, agrees with them.
We want him. We will bring him to justice. We are looking for him. He should report to the nearest police station or report to us. He will be prosecuted for economic sabotage. There is no grounds for compromise. They have used their last ultimate weapon. It will not change anything. We will not change our position, and that's it.
On his part, the spokesman to the governor highlights other decisions taken by the state government on the NLC protest.
The Ministry of Health will dismiss all nurses below grade level 14 for going on an unlawful strike. The salaries that will have gone to them are to be given as extraordinary occupational allowances to the health workers who are at their duty posts, trying to fill the gap left by those absconding from duty. The Ministry of Health has further been directed to advertise vacancies for the immediate recruitment of new nurses to replace those that have been dismissed. Any academic staff of CASU that does not report for work will be dismissed. The authorities of CASU have been directed to submit a copy of the attendance register for all categories of staff daily to the Office of the Secretary to the State Government and the Commissioner of Education.
With the impasse between the NLC and Kaduna State Government becoming a matter of who blinks first, it is expected that the coming days will be pivotal as to where the pendulum swings.
Welcome back. Well, yes, as you may have seen there, Mr. Comrade Ayuba Waba, President of Nigeria Labour Congress, as well as Barreto Mohammed, Head of Service for Kaduna State, both join us this morning on the developments playing out in Kaduna State. Good morning, and thank you both for joining us today on the program. Let me start with you, Comrade. Well, yes, a lot happened yesterday, but haven't seen how things possibly may have calmed down now. So tell us, Have things calmed down for you? Have you changed your stance? Are you going to do things differently moving forward as you give us your perspective of the background of what transpired?
Well, thank you very much, Chamberlain, and good morning, Nigerians. As you are aware, the issue we are engaging in Kaduna is about the issue of the fundamental right of a worker. I keep saying, a worker is not a slave. Employment relationship is guided by laws, and those laws are very explicit. Our laws are very rich, and on every subject matter, there are very clear provisions of the law. You cannot, and I think they need to tell us, have they not thrown out more than 7,000 workers out of job? Have the provision of the law, particularly Section 20 of the Labour Act, respected? The obvious answer is no. Can any Nigerian, not even trade unions, fold our arms to watch a situation where breadwinners of families in their thousands are disengaged? What will be the consequence, the social consequence? Already we are witnessing it. And therefore, this is a core labor issue that NLC have to engage. And that is why we are engaging this issue. And that is why we have followed the law to give adequate notice in writing. But the government of Kaduna State have remained adamant, because we are in a situation where people that are power drunk can continue to do whatever they want to do, but basically, sorry.
Talking, we can hear you while you're just there.
So what I'm saying in essence is that what is happening is crude abuse of power, and every Nigerian have now seen what we are canvassing. It's not something new, it's not something extraordinary. And that is why in the first instance we said this action is going to be limited to Kaduna for 5 days. And we are still here. We are going to continue for these 5 days. But where it fails, certainly we are going to escalate it, because we believe that we have tiers of government. They are not the ultimatum, because we have also tiers of government. We have a sitting president. And on this matter, we are very, very concerned. And that is why we cannot change our position, because justice has not been done to those workers. How can somebody be celebrating sack of workers? Is it the only state that have challenge economically? In many states that we have gone to, I gave you an example. When Kano State tried to revert to the 30,000 minimum wage, immediately we wrote a letter, he requested for dialogue. And I sent my deputies to go and dialogue with him. He led that dialogue and said, no, I'm not reverting to 30,000. These are the challenges I have, and therefore let us look for solutions. He put the facts on the table, and solutions were found. When we went to Rivers, you saw it. Before daybreak, that meeting was concluded 1 in the night, and we made pronouncement. What is then the difference? The difference is that we are discussing with a tyrant, where they don't see respect for the rule of law. As I speak to you this morning, in fact, the security agencies are already there. They have hired about 50 trucks of thugs to try to invade the NLC state office, where our people are already converging. Is this democracy? Even under military, labor leaders, labor laws have not been so violated as it is today. The security agencies are already there. They are taking the pictures. They are recording everything, all the vehicles, all the people. And basically, let us not also mix the fact. Yesterday, those people that were hired to actually carry placard, I have the record, we recorded it. They were paid 500 naira. In fact, I have them on clip. Our people went to interview them. They are youths. Most of them are below the age of 17. What kind of system are we running? And you can clip, you can ask. In fact, I think the press need to ask such people to find out what are they protesting for. Because our people are people that are affected. Every person that come out to the street is affected. There are workers that are affected. So their story can be heard. So basically, I think propaganda in this case also must be exposed. And that is what we are trying to do. We are aware that their propaganda machinery have been rolled out, including getting people to make a false statement. We are all aware of this, including using the social media platform. All of this will be responding to. But the crux of the matter is that Were workers sacked? Yes. Was the law complied with? No. These are the facts that we need to put on the table. Do we expect Labour to fold its arm? Including everybody that has spoken to this issue. After we have put the facts before the public, people know where the fault is. And I think it's for people to take responsibility. You can see the incoherency. The commissioner, the spokesperson said, we blocked offices, we blocked hospitals. Whereas the head of service, a few days ago, you can run the clip. She said everything is going on normally and that Labour does not disrupt anything. Where is the contradiction? So when you are doing propaganda, people will not be on the same page.
All right, comrade, just one moment. Let's take the response of government as well on this. Madam, you've heard the president of the NLC make some comments about what's happening in Kaduna. He has talked about the fact that they wrote a letter to the Kaduna state government. They didn't get any response, and a number of other things you may want to respond to very quickly.
Good morning, Chamberlain.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Waba. I don't know where to start, but I will start with 2015 because he said we did not follow procedure. Now, in 2015, when my predecessor was head of service, we did a sensitization exercise. We invited Labour, we informed them of our intention to modernize the civil service, and we took them to Zaria to do, in conjunction with DFID, we did a retreat for the labor unions and members of the Kaduna state government. We informed them and we agreed that we would do this, we called it Public Service Revitalization and Renewal Program. We also went around and did a sensitization to the traditional councils, the civil society organizations, and other stakeholders. We did to the public. We launched, I could remember, we launched in Murtala Square, we launched the program, and everybody was there. So we started implementation in 2017. But unfortunately, because civil servants were left to do it with no supervision, most of the criteria we gave was not complied with. We later realized that the public service revitalization was not implemented fully. So we decided to do an exercise of the physical verification of civil servants. And the commissioners and permanent secretaries were told to take the lead. Because while civil servants may feel intimidated by their colleagues and may not implement whatever the decisions were taken completely, the permanent secretaries and the commissioners, when they take the lead, they would ensure that these criteria we gave were implemented fully. So that is what we started. And in the process, you know, one of the criteria we used, apart from declaring some of the cadres obsolete because of the modernization, we also said the young people who didn't have the minimum qualification, which is a diploma for entry into the Kaduna State Civil Service, we gave them 2 years from 2017 to obtain diploma and other, even degrees, whatever they wanted to pursue in the career. And most of them did not take the opportunity. That's about 4 years after. So we decided that those who did not take the opportunity to develop themselves, if we are not able to place them appropriately, then we'll have to disengage them, because after all, they fall within the cadre that we're supposed to be disengaged. So that is what happened. And this thing started when the NLC, the current protest started when the NLC cited a fake letter that I spoke about previously. The governor has denied the contents of that letter, and every other person.
Right, madam, but what he said, pardon me, what he said is a couple of things. First, he says over 7,000 workers have been sacked, and that the state government did not obey Section 20 of the labor laws. And he says, look, from what he said this morning as well, is that Rivers, Kano, almost certain scenario played out, but they got in there. They put the facts on the table. Negotiations went on, and they saw a reason. But he thinks that Kaduna is completely towing the opposite line.
That is exactly what I'm saying, you know. The NLC decided, we did that engagement with TUC, but the NLC refused to engage with us. They preferred to respond to a letter which we said is fake. It has been in circulation since 2019. We don't know where it emanated from, but you could see clearly that the letter was not written and it was not the signature of the PPS that appeared. The governor since 2019 has been denying that letter, and we said it is not true. But the NLC went ahead and issued a press statement on that letter. Now, how can they? How can we agree on a publication that is fake, a letter that will be disowned? You know, okay. So I don't see how we can engage on the basis of that fake letter.
Okay, but before that letter came up, or after that letter, has there been any, have you reached out, has the state government reached out to NLC in spite of all that happened before this protest began?
We denied everything. We said it didn't have, it is not like that. But they were not ready to listen to us. TUC listened to us. They came, we engaged them, and that is why they are not participating. They even paid a solidarity visit on you know, and I received them the other time, as I said.
Let's bring in Mr.
I
Comrade.
don't know what NLC wants from Kaduna.
Yes. Okay. Well, Comrade, you heard that. Go ahead, please. Madam, just hold on a bit. Comrade, go ahead, please.
Let me clarify that false information. TUC officially yesterday met at the level of their National Executive Council and issued a formal statement supporting what NLC is doing, claiming that there was any solidarity visit to Kaduna state government. They were cajoled to say that there will be a meeting in the night because the meeting was then called off. Let me also try to put the facts correctly. You remembered, and it's a fact, let Nigerians listen. Kaduna state government said they want to shed weight in 2021 because of paucity of funds, because workers consume between 80 and 91%. It has no linkage with the issue of 2015. And they gave us the facts to say that workers are about 100,000. How can she come to a public media to contradict a statement they made? So clearly there is a contradiction and there is half-truth. What I'm saying emphatically, and let me also try to address the issue of which union should represent them. 99% of the unions in the Joint Public Service Negotiating Council are affiliates of NLC. If she's not aware of that as head of service, she should be aware. It's only one that is an affiliate of TUC in the Joint Public Service Negotiating Council. All the unions that are affected, NLC came in because we are their umbrella union. We came in because they complained formally, all the unions, to say they have not been consulted, that the law have not been respected. And look at it this way. If the law had been respected, because the law said one, Section 20 said one, before you contemplate redundancy, and I can say that redundancy has been carried out in 2021, the numbers are known. In the local government system, close to 2,000. In the primary care agency, 1,700 and something. In the suburb, is 4,000. Put together is close to 8,000. It's to come out and 11,000 workers are already on the list because they have not received their April salary. This is the fact that we need to put before the public. Okay,
Mr. Waba, just one moment. Let her quickly respond to that, to the issues that you have just raised now. Madam, could you quickly respond to that? You know, that there are a number of people that have been have already been relieved of their jobs, and that 11,000 are already penciled. He also said that there is a need, according to the law that both himself and Chamberlain have referenced this morning, that the state government ought to have consulted with their unions. 99% according to Comrade Waba, of which are affiliates of the NLC. Did the government of Kaduna State take this action?
Well, you know, that's why when I did my first interview, I wondered why it is the national that is talking. I would have preferred to sit face to face with our employers, and so that they can tell us, oh, if Mr. Waba has a documentary evidence that says that we have dismissed this number of people, and we have penciled down this number of people to dismiss, then he can please avail the world with such documents.
But that same information, madam, that same information came from the NLC chairman in Kaduna State.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, when unions want when unions want whatever they want, they send fake issues, fake information to the world. So that is why I would have preferred to deal with a document that says that's something that I have signed or somebody else has signed on these things. So there is no way that I can sit here and respond to something that is not documented. It is just here.
But he also said that the state government put up a statement saying we're sacking people because of for paucity of funds, that you can't keep paying that amount of money. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct, but it is a continuation of the 2017. The exercise that we're carrying out in 2017, that is the continuation. And that is what I know as head of service.
So if you're sacking people for paucity of funds, part of their bone of contention also is that those who have been sacked previously will never pay their entitlements. And even people who have been sacked recently, many of them say, look, no such thing has happened.
You know, I don't know how to convince you, but I can assure you that, as I said earlier, that we inherited over 14 billion naira as gratuity and death benefits. Now, when we agreed, when the Executive Council sat and agreed, resolved that the people who have been denied gratuity and death benefits from 2010 should be paid first. And we have still since commenced payment of salary. We have paid more than 13 billion naira as gratuity and death benefits, including those that were disengaged in 2017.
So
now, some of the staff, you know, because we implemented the contributory pension scheme fully in 2017. Some of the staff did not know that they had to go to the pension fund administrators and do a documentation.
Okay, so in other words, maybe let's cut to the chase. How many workers has the state government sacked at the moment? From 20? Yes, go ahead.
From 2017?
Yes.
Or now?
Both, from then and now, up till now.
Well, I can't remember the exact number. I don't want to say anything that I will be quoted again. But I remember we disengaged 21,000 primary school teachers, and we engaged over 25,000 of them.
All together, or just for this latest disengagement?
No, the latest disengagement we have not determined. We have not issued any numbers yet because we have not concluded. And I said, as soon as we conclude, we will inform everybody.
How many of those 21,000 have received their entitlements?
Well, I can't say now, but I can find out for you if you like.
I thought this is over 1, 2, 3 years ago.
Yes, that was late 2017. It was.
And you still don't have how many have received entitlements?
Pardon?
And you don't have the figure of those who the state government have authoritatively paid entitlements?
Well, even right now, payments are being made right now. So unless...
Yeah, but you're the head of service. You should have some figures.
If I am the head of and I get updates. But if you want the update now, I can't give
okay,
you.
What was the last update that you had? What was the last update you had?
Pardon?
What was the last update that you had?
The last update was total, not those who were. The last update I had is that we have paid more than 13 billion naira.
For how many of those disengaged? Well, how many of the 21,000 disengaged workers?
No, we don't pay primary school teachers. We don't pay.
No. I mean, the last update you had of the figure of the 21,000 that have been disengaged, how many of them have been paid as at the last time you checked?
You know, we decided to pay everybody that was not paid from 2010. So I have to extract those that were disengaged in 2017 to give you the information.
Well, comrade, over 13 billion have been paid.
Chamberlain, let me put the facts also correct. There is a contradiction. The Commissioner of Local Government was on this platform. He said in the 2021 disengagement, about 1,700 local government workers were disengaged. This is a fact. We have the letters, all the letters of disengagement of those in the local government, of those in the primary care agency, and those in suburb. I will forward those letters to your WhatsApp, sample of each of them to your WhatsApp, and you can see the date is reading March 2021. Why are we not telling the world the truth? Is what I cannot understand.
Let him confirm, comrade. Just one moment.
21,000 workers were disengaged.
All right, comrade. Just one moment, madam. Can you confirm or refute that?
About the local government. Yes, what the Commissioner for Local Government said is true. The Local Government Service Board is not state government. But of course, I am the head of civil service. And you will recall that I said a portal is being launched for all those that were disengaged in the local government, including those that we have penciled in the state, to upload
the Local Government Service Board is not government.
No, it's not. It's not state government. Local government is you know, it is an independent. We have it is an independent body on itself. The local government service. It is a unified local government service. We have the state, of course. I'm sure you know that.
A joint account. You told us the last time that you were disengaging some persons in the local government, and it was approved by the state government. You said it's on your record.
I can't hear you, please. What did you say?
It was on record what you said about those local government workers who were disengaged. You said the state government were involved in that disengagement. In fact, the letter emanated from the state government.
No, I said the Local Government Service Board has the responsibility for employment, promotion, and discipline, including disengagement of staff of the unified local governments.
Come back to this after this break, and comrade will weigh in. Just hold on, we're back in a moment.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, madam, part of the law that's been referenced here a few times is that when an employer disengages a staff for whatever reason, you also give them their payoff once and for all. It would appear that from what you have said that hasn't been done. How do you react to that, and how do you expect the labor and everyone else to take that?
We paid them their 1 month salary in lieu of notice and 3 months salary in lieu of notice, respectively, depending on the years of service that they have served, the years they have served in the service.
But you also said now that there are thousands of people that are yet to get their benefits.
Yes, I didn't say thousands. I am very careful when mentioning figures, unless I am sure. I said those that we inherited since 2010 are being paid. I don't know how many amongst them are those affected by the 2017 disengagement.
All right, well, comrade, How are you going to continue with this protest when the state government has declared you wanted?
Well, I've said yesterday he has no such power, and I think it's something that legal luminaries have also posited very explicitly. But before I get to that, I think it's good we put the facts before the public. Under the redundancy law, it has Section 20 ABC. Section A said, before you contemplate redundancy, that the employer or government shall inform the trade union about the reason and the scope of the redundancy. Item B stated clearly that even when carrying out redundancy, the last to come in will be the first to go out. And lastly, the redundancy package will be negotiated as you are issuing the worker his letter of disengagement, his entire package. We are not talking of the required notice, because the notice is that when you are sacking worker or his leaving service, he gives you either 1 month in lieu of notice or he gives you 3 months notice. That is not the case. This is a case of redundancy, which government have come out clearly to say is because of paucity of fund. What the law required is that his check will be ready. Imagine it this way, and let Nigerians look at it. A worker have worked for 30 years. He has not planned for retirement because the retirement is either 60 years of age or 35 years in service. Midway, you say you don't have money to pay him, and you disengage him. You merely give him a letter and a 1 month salary. How do you think that man can fit into the society? That's why the law is very explicit. And let me also tell you that the issue of saying that labor have been engaged is false. One of the gains that labor has made globally is a global law about the right of a worker to collective bargaining through his union. That law was domesticated in Nigeria on the 15th of October 1960 under a democratic government. And it is enshrined in our labor laws. After every collective bargaining, there will be a CBA, collective bargaining agreement. In every state that unions and government have reached an agreement, there will be a signed document. Signed by government, one about the scope, about the people affected, about how they are going to be paid. Let her produce one in Kaduna in conformity with that law. That is to tell you that there is no consultation. Let us not mix words. That is why we are saying, when Obasanjo did the Federal Civil Service Reform, you remember, in 2005, every worker that was leaving the service has his entire benefit, his gratuity, his terminal benefit, including 10% severance. They also received training. They were trained on different skills. As they were given this engagement letter, their checks were also ready. This is what the law envisaged. And this is what needs to be respected. This is what has been violated. And this is what we have been shouting that Nigerians need to understand. This is the only state in Nigeria out of 36 states of the Federation that this impunity is happening. So this is the difference. Also about quoting the number of people that have been paid or not. No, that is not also correct. And let me put the figures. The teachers that were disengaged were 21,000 plus. In the core civil service, 8,000 plus were also disengaged. And I tell you, as a matter of fact, when she's talking about contributory pension started in 2017. Yes, contributory pension is you assess what you have already saved between you and the employer. But your accrued rights, if you have worked for 30 years before 2017, your accrued right is supposed to be paid by government. That's what is happening even presently with the contributory pension scheme. That's what the law says. That you have accrued rights, having worked for 30 years, you are disengaged in 2021. Those accrued rights that you have accumulated need to be paid in form of gratuity. And basically, those are accrued rights you have earned while working in service. Same apply even in the private sector. Even in the private sector, they know that the redundancy law is respected and people are paid. So these are the facts. And therefore, going forward, I think is to return to the basis. They should be able to respect the provision of the law. No worker wants to die perpetually working. What we are doing is to protect the right of the worker. If you want to disengage worker, respect the law and pay his benefit. Let it also be captured in a collective bargaining agreement. That's why they cannot show us any document. I want to also forward to you, and I said that, let it be recorded. Those that were disengaged in Subet, 4,000 of them, I will forward the sample of the letters to you. Those that were disengaged in primary care agency, I will forward their letter to you in the current exercise, not the one of 2017. and the same with the ones of the local government. I can tell you authoritatively, whereas the law said before this engagement, in fact, before you contemplate the redundancy, labor shall be engaged. We have not been engaged. No arm of labor that represent those workers. In fact, the law said even where the worker does not belong to a union, his representative shall be consulted. That's what the law says. So basically, this is where we are. I think it's important for Nigerians to get this fact. We are not mixing facts. We are putting the fact before the public, and the public should be able to judge. Okay. And that is why insecurity is on the increase. All those 21,000 teachers and the 8,000 workers disengaged in 2017, we are not paid their terminal benefit. Their children are already out of school. Okay, their children are out of school. That's why the figure cannot be given to us. Let them give us the figure and the name. We can publish it. They can come out. The other day when I came here in 2017, when they
let's
said
ask our right
we invited them, they came with their letters. Everybody saw it.
Okay, just hang on a minute. My colleague has a question for you. But before then, Madam, do you have any documents, any agreement whatsoever with the Kaduna State NLC?
The moment they shut off electricity, they cancelled all the talks. Now, the 23 local governments disengaged 1,648. Subeb disengaged 2,963. And I told you also that we are doing a verification. That is why we have not paid those that we are disengaging right now. Because we asked them to go and do upload their
not even from 20.
561 of them, 561 of the Subeb staff, of the 2,963 Subeb staff that were given letters of disengagement, are being reinstated because they have proved during this verification that they have genuine certificates. So we have penciled them for reinstatement. That's 561. The primary health care has disengaged 995, which makes a total of 5,606. Kaduna State, the Kaduna State has not disengaged anybody. We are still doing the verification exercise. We have not declared redundancy. I repeat, we have not declared any redundancy. We are implementing. It is a continuation of the 2017 disengagement exercise. Kaduna State is right sizing. That's it.
Well, basically, Madam, the state is sacking people, just straight to the point. Well, my colleague Makwe has got questions for you. Makwe?
Well, first and foremost, I think she's tried to respond to what Comrade Ayuba Waba is saying. The head of service is talking about, and he's emphasizing the fact that they're right-sizing. Right-sizing will eventually involve people leaving the service. So I think the questions will also go to Comrade Waba as to whether or not the people who are being let go of as a result of not complying or having the requirements to continue to be in service, who were not properly employed in the first instance, maybe I don't know how they came into the service, but through the process of verification right now, who ought not to be in service, would they be requiring the state government to pay them? That's one. Then for the head of service, the question I have is, the people who you're letting go off through this verification process, are they the people who you're looking to let go of in the right sizing, or are you still looking to let go of people who have all their qualifications, who should be in service, so to speak? Are you letting them go as well because of the paucity of funds which you're citing? And if that is the case, isn't that redundancy automatically?
No. That is why I said of the staff that were disengaged from the Subeb, those that did the verification, 561 of them are being reinstated right now. We gave them the letter, but we do not give them anything because, as I said, we are launching a portal that will give them the opportunity to upload their certificates. Only those who were found to be, who are supposed to have been disengaged in 2017 are being disengaged right now. People who have their, who are genuinely employed, they have their employment letters, they have their qualifications, the minimum qualification, and we will definitely not disengage them. And that is why the state government has
still not captured. Sadly, that is not captured in the notice which was put up. I mean, why the Kaduna state government is right-sizing. You have said, the state government has released a statement saying that they cannot continue to use 84% to 96% of FAC receipts on personnel costs, as this will shortchange the majority of the state to satisfy those lucky to be public servants. So it looks like there is still, even though you have your qualifications and you have your certifications and you have everything which should certify you as a legal and proper public servant, you could still be let go of as a result of the fact that the Kaduna state government cannot continue to keep up with the upkeep of the servant. So the question is, how many people are you looking to let go of? Because there's also been great emphasis on the fact that you are not going to you have not decided on the number of people you want to let go of, but it is certain that you're going to be letting go of people. Isn't that a redundancy already?
No, it is not, as I said, if we had the intention of disengaging people who had qualifications and who had their letters of appointment, genuine letters of appointment, we wouldn't have penciled down 561 of the 2,963 SUBEB staff that were disengaged. No, we don't intend to disengage people who have genuine employment. If we hadn't had that fiscal problem with our funding, probably we wouldn't have known that some of these the criteria we gave in 2017 was not fully implemented. We wouldn't have had reason to do the verification again. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I know that, the thing is, I don't know. Now, I do know that the Kaduna state government did put up a notice that they're going to be letting go of people. They're not certain how many, but they say this is public servants, which means that it will cut across political appointees and also civil servants, so to speak. Now, when that notice was put out, I will imagine that the Kaduna state government would also appreciate that this would not be an easy decision to take on the part of Labour, or maybe also on their own parts as well, and that there needs to be a lot of engagement both with the TUC and of course the NLC as well. It looks like you say that you have been able to do some engagements with the TUC. We saw a picture of you and some TUC people, so to speak, in the state, and it looks like you're very uncomfortable with the fact that the NLC national has had to wade in on this particular crisis. Did you imagine that this was going to be a very easy decision, especially after that notice was put out for an imminent disengagement of workers?
What I'm saying is that the NLC has refused to engage with us. They have refused to reason with us. What they are flying around is that they are flying that letter around, that we are casualizing staff, we are doing this, we are doing that. We have denied that. If they want the truth, they should come and engage with us, but they have refused. They are insisting that that letter is genuine. Now they have been, sharing information that we have dismissed 60,000, we have dismissed 20,000, and so on and so forth. They have issued many, figures, but I have lost count. So that is why I'm not, unless I am certain of the number, as I said, payments are made all the time. Even now, when people do their verification, they are paid. But I cannot give you the exact figure at this minute because so much has happened since yesterday. So I don't know.
Let me come to you now and ask you, there are people who, maybe through the process of verification, we have seen this at the national level, we've seen this at the federal government level, whereby they have been trying to weed out ghost workers, people who do not have the required qualification, or whatnot inside the civil service. Do you think that those people too should be, would the redundancy law also apply to those people, or are these just for certified workers fit and proper to be civil servants?
Thank you very much. I think people don't seem to understand what is redundancy. Mass sack, as is going on now, under any pretext, either right-sizing or due to paucity of fund, which is clearly the motive. And that motive has been known to every Nigerian is redundancy. And it's clearly redundancy. Let me also say that even in the 2007 exercise, why did we have to come in here? I quoted the relevant laws. Let them show us one collective bargaining agreement in line with the provision of the collective bargaining law that have been entered with any union. There is none. And in every state, you will see that collective bargaining agreement. It's just coming here to tell people
You
and misinform people. The Kaduna state unions.
You're misunderstanding my question. The question is, those who are let go of as a result of not having the required qualification or not having the requirements, so to speak, to be fit and proper civil servants, when those people are let go of, would you require that the laws of redundancy be followed as well?
Thank you very much. Let me say that let us not hide under any pretext to say that people are not qualified. I'm coming to that, please. Let us not hide under any pretext, because that is what is happening, to say that one, anybody that is not qualified in the first instance is not supposed to be employed. That is what the law says. And if somebody is employed, he doesn't employ himself. He was employed through a process. He has a letter of engagement, either permanent or permanent and pensionable. And those people that are now being referred to as people that need to be disengaged have permanent and pensionable appointment letters. And the civil service law is very clear. When you have permanent and pensionable appointment, at any time you should be disengaged. You should be disengaged on the terms and conditions that we are employed. And therefore, clearly, it's redundancy. And I say so. In 2015, when redundancy was carried, 2005, when redundancy was carried out by the federal government, all those criteria, including those that have not reached the qualification that they ought to have, all of those fall under redundancy. And therefore, if somebody have worked for 25 years in service, and you come up today to say that he was employed as a carpenter, he has not improved himself, retire him on the basis of what you have employed him as a carpenter. Or if you have employed him as a grade 2 teacher, and now, because of knowledge, have continued to increase, and you want BSc, is to pay him off on the basis of what you have employed him. That's what the law said. So we are not saying that workers cannot be disengaged. But the crux of the issue here is that their benefits must be paid before you give them disengagement.
As we wind down now, pardon me, Madam, could you just tell us, because I mean, you did say that the state government is recruiting people. Is that correct?
Yes, it is true.
But
and you know,
I thought that, if the state government was, you say, right-sizing as a result of paucity of funds, and then you're recruiting at the same time, how does that work?
You know, when we established that we were paying, as I said, if we hadn't done this physical exercise, we wouldn't have known that we still have people who didn't comply with the criteria that we gave. That's one. Secondly, recently, we had to dismiss a medical doctor that had served for over 20 years in Kaduna State because he had a fake certificate. We didn't know. He made sure that he remained outside Kaduna. He remained in the rural areas where he was doing his things. But when we did this verification, we realized that he never went, he didn't have a genuine medical certificate, so we had to dismiss him. Now, does the law allow that we allow such people to remain?
All right. So as we're winding down now, could you tell us, madam,
what of those that assumed
there's got to be a solution to some of these things. You know, concerning the just hold on a minute. Concerning the local government service board, which you spoke about, could you tell us who constitutes the local government service board?
The local government service board?
Yes.
Like Civil Service Commission, we have a chairman and permanent commissioners, and we have a secretary.
Who constitutes them?
The governor.
So they're answerable to the governor. Okay, so moving forward now, seeking a solution to this matter, what would you recommend as a solution to what is going on now?
The solution is that they allow us to continue with our verification And then when we are through, we engage them if they want to engage with us. If they believe that that letter that they have been sharing to on their everywhere else that it is fake, then we sit down and discuss with them, and we tell them the reasons why we are disengaging this people. Now, I'm sure the NLC will not support the fact that we have found people who have assumed names of those who have died.
But did you receive any letter from NLC?
Did they write me to say that they want to engage up with us?
Have you received any letter from them?
They wrote threats on that letter, on that fake letter that they said we denied.
All right. Well, comrade, solutions has to be sought, and there has to be one. Everyone wants these things to end peacefully, but what would you recommend as solution to this?
Well, thank you. Let me try to address
hold on, madam.
issue the head of service raised. There are clear provisions in the public service rules if somebody is employed with a fake certificate.
Yes.
Clear provisions.
Of course.
Dismissal and the process are very clear. So let's not mix words. Nobody supports illegality. So don't mix words into that. Clear provisions.
Madam, just hang on a minute. Madam, hang on. You've had your time. Just hang on, madam.
Then we engage.
Can you be civil and allow me also to talk? You have been able to talk. 2, we wrote official letter citing all the issues and the complaint. We are not parading any fake letter. Any figure we have quoted is correct. The letter of disengagement we have circulated is correct. I can give Chamberlain, he can hear it, and the people can be invited. We can invite them to speak on the issue. So we are not parading any false information. This information we are getting from the public sector unions, and I told you 99% of the public service union belong to NLC. It's because you have not engaged them, that's why we are coming in. If you have engaged them, we will not be having here. The workers that are protesting are people you have sacked. They are not people imported from the moon. So let us not come here and just begin to speak rhetorics. They have families to take care of. This is what we are discussing. So let us be basic. In such issues, when we write notice to you, it is you that will invite to say that please come for a meeting. And I remembered from your office, I have it. When we arrived here, a notice was issued. A minute later, they said, no, there is no need for the meeting. Is that true or not? From your office, I have it on my WhatsApp. And I have the conversation recorded. So why are you speaking from both sides of your mouth? We tell the people the truth. You are quoting TUC. Have you seen the next resolution they issued yesterday? Let us not cajole people to say that things are normal, things are right. Let us find a way to addressing it. And how to address it, fine. The law did not say when you finish, you consult labor. No. Section 20 said, before you contemplate, inform labor, 1, of the reason, 2, of the scope, how many people will be affected, what are the reasons for every worker, where is the list, before you do it, before you issue letter, that is the first procedure. So that we see reason with you. If anybody has fake certificate, we'll support it. Yes, exit him. If somebody is employed and he doesn't have the qualification, we'll support you. Exit him. But be transparent in whatever I do. That's what the law said, because in the course of what you said, you say you are doing this because of paucity of funds. But now you have changed gear. You say you have done it because of verification of 2017. So there is incoherency in what you are saying. And what we are saying, we are ready. Follow what the law said. Get your list before you issue any letter. Invite them to look at it, as the law said. And even those that will be disengaged, let their checks be ready.
All right,
this is your check.
Okay, we get your point. Madam, please go ahead as you wind down.
Can we establish those that we are disengaging based on the either certificate or fake certificate or other things? If we don't do the verification, can we give you the number of people that were disengaging based on fake certificate, based on fake letters of appointment and so on? Can we do that?
But if they were engaged, there was a basis for the engagement, assuming there was an agreement, so to speak, on legal terms. So if they're going to be disengaged, on what basis are they going to be disengaged? Are they not going to pay them based on what they were engaged on?
That is why we're doing the verification exercise. That is why we have we have not
yeah,
issued
but you
letters
still
of-
say you haven't paid some of those who have been segregated. You say you don't have the figures yet.
because we give no. Please, Chamberlain, if you don't understand what I said is that we started payment from 2010. Those we have inherited who were not paid their gratuity and death benefits. So if you want an extract of those that were affected in 2017, I have to extract them because these payments are continuous every day. So I don't want to give you figures.
I understand perfectly what's going on and what you said and how Section 20 applies.
The number of people that have fake certificates and those that have other issues that are provided in public service regulation.
Everyone, the country will be hoping that the state government and Labour will be able to sit down and talk about some of these matters. I mean, that's what the narrative everywhere. So we're hoping that this will be resolved amicably such that everyone can move on. But we have to thank both of you for coming on today. Ayuba Oba, President of NLC, and Baratu Mohammed, Head of Service of Kaduna State. Thank you both for talking to us. We will be back in a moment. Stay with us.